Okay, I probably just need to start recording. So, I've been messing with some microphone settings, and I have no idea. Well, I have an idea. I'm thinking this should be relatively better than it has been previously. I think it's fair to do so. Actually, upgrading the microphone is actually definitely on the table. It's something I should definitely be considering doing. But hopefully there will be less background noises and clicking. I don't know about the actual voice quality, but you don't want to hear me that good quality either. Or anyway, that's also not important. That's not what you're here for. You're here for Overclock Showcase. Welcome back. It of course has been 2 weeks, as I said it would be. This is how we're definitely going to do things from now on. I think I definitely need that sort of period. Believe it or not, guys, I don't do this for a living. But yeah, so it's definitely been helpful. I mean, I haven't actually practiced that much. I think I will be more determined to as we get, because this was really the first one, or the first time back after the previous, where I'd had like a really long stretch of time knowing I was going to do custom casings for the Zukots. In this case, apparently 2 weeks wasn't enough for me to play with an overclock that I actually really like, because that's Spinning Def. We're doing Spinning Def today. Spinning Def, of course, being, I wouldn't say, no, I mean, not an infamous overclock. I would say a noteworthy overclock for the British cutter, and certainly one that kind of, it's always had sort of a little bit of a crazy aspect to it, because it's, it's kind of crazy what it does, but it was underpowered for a very long time. That changed a while ago, though. I think it was season 4, maybe even earlier, when they buffed its ammo count, basically. Because yes, it does reduce your ammo, it reduces your magazine capacity down to 1 or 2 at most, which is not worth doing because you have to trade a lot of lifetime. And it obviously reduces DPS, but you get much longer lifetime and a beam that basically spins in place. It's also wider. And we're going to be playing with all of these elements in some way or another. Not necessarily changing every element, but basically, Spinning Def is really, really good. I kind of think I think it is my favourite Breach Cutter overclock. I don't know if it's the strongest. The strongest is it's probably Lightweight Cases or Inferno. But I really like Spinning Def, and I do think it's very good as well. I think it's both of those things. Would I give it S tier? I don't know. I think that's the kind of thing where I'd be more apt. I'd be more able to have what I think about that come forth once I have like the other overclocks placed. So if I'm like placing it in like S tier in an actual tier list, I don't know if I'd actually appreciate that. It's weird, but we'll see when the time comes very later on. But for now, I can tell you that I like it and think it's very strong. So how do you build Spinning Def though? You basically have to respect the fact that it takes the fact that the Breach Cutter is generally pretty good at both single target and AoE, and the fact that it takes both of those things further, but in a very different way. It's basically a different weapon, but it's actually better at both of the things that the Breach Cutter is already good at. What you basically have is it being a lot better at both of those things, but its range is in the toilet. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. It's like a shock. It's kind of like a shotgun, or at least you're kind of using it like a shotgun, because of how close range it is. It literally, it pops out the gun and it's immediately active and just spinning. It does move, but really slowly. I'm talking as if you probably haven't seen it before. I'm sure you probably have seen Spinning Def before, but if you haven't seen it before, you're about to, and you can see why it's kind of a shotgun. It can be used against pretty much anything. It's just about if you can get close enough. Like flying enemies, for example, that's fine. You can definitely use it against flying enemies. Like that's not a problem. But it is an awkward thing to use. So this is the build that I've had for the longest time, I would say, out of the two. Actually, yeah, because I've only ever had this one. This is the only Spinning Def build I've had up until this point. The other one is brand new for the video. So we're going to be going through this one first, because it's kind of a bit of an old reliable. I'm fairly certain this has been featured before in previous videos, just because of it being such a good pairing with whatever the overclock happened to be that I was covering in the primary slot. But yeah, so we've got lifetime here. Lifetime is going to be present on both of these, because lifetime is something that Spinning Def brings probably the best thing that it brings on like surface level and face value. The fact that it extends the lifetime up to, well, it brings up to 3.8 from 1.5 seconds, and that immediately gets doubled to 7.5 when you take the upgrade. So that's going to be the case with both of them. That one extra magazine size is not worth it. The only time it would be is in the other build where we have slightly less ammo, but it's just not sensible. You want that lifetime. That lifetime is far better than one more ammo overall. And for anything, it's going to be reducing the need for you to fire that second shot. But yeah, in this build though, we are taking more ammo. DPS wise, it is very strong. It doesn't quite meet certain breakpoints, like for example a Praetorian, but it's not so bad. I would not want to miss out on 4 ammo. They can be used against groups of grunts, weaker priority targets like stingtails that are going to go down in one shot. So the ammo is far more sensible. And I'm pretty sure if you basically get lucky, it can kill Praetorians. Sometimes it's weird, but Plasma Trail really helps it along. You basically do get there. In fact, I may even try and do an isolated Praetorian kill, or just like experiment just to see if it does actually kill it. Quick deploy. Quick deploy is present in both of these as well. I kind of don't see any reason not to use quick deploy, but there actually probably is. But quick deploy is weird. I actually need to have a quick look at something to do with quick deploy, because I'm pretty sure the reason I don't use it is because that small deployment window actually uses up lifetime. I'm pretty sure, and that's why quick deploy is almost always better. Let's see. I don't know if Carl.gg can actually really cover this, because there's an expansion delay and it reduced it by 0.2 seconds. I don't really know, but I just think with the way the breach cutter works, especially with this where it's a much closer range anyway, I don't want it potentially opening behind the enemies I'm attacking. I don't know, it just doesn't. Not for me, not so much. So yeah, quick deploy. But here we get into 2 more things that are different. So the upgrade slots that are different are 2, 4, and 5. So across the 2 builds. So in this one we have stun. Stun is massively important. This basically is the crowd control aspect. Now it does kill grunts anyway. It has no problem killing grunts. It does not need the stun to do that. But anything above that is probably going to get out of the projectile before it dies. So this is really is for anything. This is basically for everything. The only thing you don't need it for is like oppressors and bulk detonators and dreadnoughts, which are so big and slow that you can guide them around, or just rely on the fact they're gonna get hit with the entire duration of the projectile anyway. So yeah, Plasma Trail. Plasma Trail's a weird one because I'm pretty sure the DPS from Plasma Trail does not stack, but the way I see it, it essentially extends the lifetime. It basically adds more DPS to the trail, also adds more DPS to the projectile, and also leaves a little bit afterwards too. So it's really just a DPS boost. Triple Split Line is a theoretical DPS boost, and Explosive Goodbye is actually a very underrated upgrade, but does not suit Spinning Death. Explosive Goodbye suits kind of just Return to Sender and lightweight cases, but I like it. I really like Explosive Goodbye. I wish there was more reasons to use it. I wish Explosive Goodbye carried like effects from High Voltage Crossover and Inferno, for example. I think that would be a very healthy thing for it to have, but it's fine. As you can see, this is a lure build. This is because this Breach Cutter is, for a weapon that is extremely capable at single target and AoE, I feel very comfortable kind of going that route as well with the primary a little bit, but also taking lures. When you realise you have enough firepower to cover everything, lures become, for me, the right choice. It's rarely the case, but when I think I can use lures, I definitely like to, because they are very, very useful. And in the case of Spinning Death, yes, they are a good thing to put in the middle of your Spinning Death projectile, or rather, you'd probably put the lure down first and then put the Spinning Death over the top of it. That's typically how it would go. But we can combine our lure power with other things, like Turret Whip. So yeah, I've got a Warthog here with magnetic pellet alignment. Now, I wish I played with it a little bit more, because I wouldn't mind knowing if armor breaking would be a okay choice here, but this is really just something to nail down basically any individual target, and especially at longer ranges than what our secondary weapon is capable of. So if we need to handle a spitball invector from a distance, if we need to handle a Warthog scale bramble, right, that's what this is for. It's also just for general cleanup, and it's got turret whip as well, which is going to be helpful. I mean, it's going to be for a lot of reasons. As such, well, the LMG Mark II, I don't really have a specific reason I'm using it, but I actually like using it with turret whip because it means I only have one turret to think about. That's not smart, by the way. If you're actually turret whipping, it's like a big part of your build, you take Gemini and you just use one turret, because Gemini gives you more ammo, right? So if you're very focused on turret whipping, just use Gemini. That's the right move. So you can kind of ignore this part of it. But aside from that, I think this is a good pairing, these two weapons, and the lure works quite well here. It works very well with Spinning Death. So yeah, you're gonna see me using this thing against pretty much any type of enemy, anything that is slightly tanky and very distinct groups. Now you do want to think about the groups a little bit carefully, because obviously, say it's like 3 or 4 grunts. No, absolutely not. If you're taking lighter cases or whatever it was, the clean ammo overclock, 3 or 4 grunts, sure, it's just going to kill them. That's fine. It's not that much ammo to waste. We only have 13 shots in this build, though, in this breach cutter. You want to use it when you know there are going to be more enemies coming, piling into that area, or against something that's going to last the duration. That's why I don't necessarily need it to kill a Praetorian in one shot, because by it not doing that and only getting close, I know that it's used up its entire lifetime without any wasted time, basically. I know that might sound quite theoretical. It definitely is, but that's clearly a thought process that I've had, and I'm only just now voicing it. But I mean, apparently that's the justification that I've been using. Anyway, I guess we're here. We're doing. I think I did do a heavy extraction in the last one of these, actually. So this is not the first time doing heavy extraction. This is my first time recording since I've had my ears fixed. Attentive viewers, which I know is not many, would know I've been having some pretty, well, shall we say, intense. That's a nemesis. Some pretty intense ear-related issues, just to do with blockage and wax build-up, and it was actually more intense. We realised we got a third-party sort of assistance on this matter. That's a Crassus, by the way. There's a Crassus and a nemesis in this mission. That's stupid, but they are good targets for Spinning Death. But yeah, so we got like a third-party ear specialist round to actually just sort me out, and it worked a treat. My ears are completely clean and unblocked. I could finally hear. It actually has made me realise I haven't been able to hear properly for months. And yes, that does affect even close-up sort of digitally imbued sound, like from headphones. They were still muffled, and it was mainly my right ear at this point. But now I'm able to fully appreciate the dense and florid soundscape of Deep Rock Galactic. Same with every other game. I mean, I started playing Super Mario Galaxy again recently, and that was while they were still pretty blocked, and that was a disservice to Super Mario Galaxy. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm assuming that that's a Crassus. I think that's a pretty safe assumption, but Nemesis, there's no doubt. I'm not sure. I don't know if I care too much about the fleas. Is it still the anniversary event, or did that pass? I think that's passed. Yeah, no, it has. It definitely has. Right, so this kind of situation, probably going to lure up and put this here and try and kill the Warden before. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. Oh, the projectile's gone. Yeah, this Warthog is actually a really nice clean-up weapon. I actually ended up doing something, for me, that's quite interesting for the second build, which is actually using bug repellent, which is a, I don't know, would you call it maligned? I wouldn't call it maligned necessarily. Ooh, look at this. Alright. Stingtail. Oh, it's already really low health. Not sure how. But you see, that's quite a dense group of grunts with snatchers and guards mixed in. But yeah, in the second building, I ended up doing something with bulk repellent, which is the platform upgrade. And I actually think it's working out really well. I think it makes sense. I don't know why I didn't necessarily think of high. Oh, that Praetorian had also already taken damage as well, so this is going to be easy for Spinning Death. So yeah, we've already used a little bit more breach cutter ammo than I intended. Because I probably wouldn't have actually used it on that Praetorian if I'd seen its health before. Oh well. I can kind of just go on. Although this is a. Oh, it's well. Oh, you know what? Let's actually see. That's fine. I've actually had more health than the previous one, but. And yeah, so there's a Warthog here, but this shouldn't be difficult for our Warthog. See, where is it? Shit. Have I? Oh shit, it's still alive. Alright, this is going to be interesting. Alright, let's get out there. But this is definitely a good site. In fact, I may actually do that. What the hell is this? I will probably do that Tristolite deposit, actually. Yeah, this is where I thought armor breaking might be useful. Okay, that was basically the exact situation I said to not use it in. Let's see if I can get this grunt to come over. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. You've got 2 seconds. Okay, it's gone. Actually, that grunt got stunned, which means the very edge of the breach cutter projectile hit him, actually. So that's good. Yeah, Stingtails are the thing I thought that armor breaking might be really good for, but I've kind of realised something with Stingtails. I think I mentioned this even in the last video, or no, I think it was the last one. If you just pile it on, you get through that armor quick enough that it's worth doing. It's worth just hitting the armor hard, even if you don't have armor breaking, instead of trying to hit the weak point underneath. Because if you're trying to hit the weak point underneath, some of that is going to go into the armor anyway. And to be honest, probably end up being wasted. Anyway, they said I found the first dig site. Oh yes, okay, so it's here. There's also, so this scale bramble's still alive, which is a personal affront to me. See, I actually didn't use a lure during that swarm, which is why I have them, by the way. That's kind of that is a spontaneous justification. The fact that I didn't need one clearly shows that I definitely didn't need, you know, more offensive power in my grenade slot. I hope that makes sense. I think that makes perfect sense. Can't be 100% sure everyone's going to agree with me, though. Oh, hi there. Oh, shit. Nah, probably could be fine. Yeah, it's not too bad. I wasn't sure if we were about to get hit with a pretty big ambush or not. Appear not. Yeah, shut up, Nemesis. Nematode. Oh, yeah, this actually might not be quick. Hold on. Oh, I was going to cut, but then a bunch of stuff showed up. There we go. I mean, these are the kind of locations where a lure is not needed to get value out of the Spinning Death. That Crassus is digging through, isn't it? Or something is. Yeah, it's the Crassus. It's the Crassus. I don't know why it's being so aggressive. It's not a Crassus. I'm not sure that makes sense. Oh, we could use it to unearth the thingamajig. Let's put that there. I'm gonna do it. That's gonna do it. Nice. I think she might have done that before already. I'm not sure. Right, I'd rather not get hit by both of those. Thanks, bozo. Right, I'm going to need a supply pod somewhere. Let's just put it here. Because yeah, I definitely ammo dumped a little bit on that. But did I use 3 shots on that detonator? I think I did. That's fine. That's fine. You'd obviously need to use more if you're using a different breach cutter overclock. If you're using just, you know. Spinning Death very easily brings the highest damage per shot. Okay, so there's still a detonator out there, so I'm thinking there actually was a Crassus, and there still is. God. I mean, it doesn't matter now, because we've done it so many times, but I do miss when, like, finding a Crassus when you have pots of gold active was, like, a big deal. Nowadays, not even particularly tempted to take the pots of gold. But yeah, Spinning Death, easily the most damage per shot that the breach cutter is capable of. Inferno actually gets pretty comparable, and that's not even with taking damage, you know, or equipping more damage. Right. That's a bit dodgier than I would have liked. Okay, so I'm definitely going to have to come back for that resupply, but there is... Well, I'm assuming Nemesis... Well, actually, no. One of those things is through here. Either the Crassus or Nemesis. I think the Crassus is through here, at the very least. They might both be. Not sure. Okay, so Nemesis is, and there's also the Crassus. And Nemesis is also almost dead. I'm just gonna annoy him. Oh, there's one with different grunts. Okay. I'm gonna put that there. Be mine. Get out of the way. Right, we're moving back up here. Right, Nemesis is down, which is about to make this entire place a lot less healthy. Whoa, the Crassus is coming. Why is it doing that? Oh, can I get around it? I think I can. Yeah, I can. Okay, it's fine. Fine, we're fine. I'm just assuming that's going to be okay behind me. Yeah, it is. Spinning Death just handled it. Now, why is the Crassus coming from that angle now? Or I keep chopping and changing his mind. No, 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 no. Yep. It took me long enough, but I am finally, I think, suitably wary of slasher stuns. Right. Why does he keep changing where he's coming from? Don't like it. Don't appreciate it. But yeah, something spinning depth is generally pretty good at. Actually, this is something the breach cuts we go anyways. Hitting all the weak points on a detonator simultaneously. Not necessarily destroying them simultaneously. It's just like it can. I think triple split line obviously helps with that. That's something triple split line definitively helps with. Any enemy with multiple weak points. So both detonators and nemesis are actually both enemies where triple split line has quite a bit of value. Also, I guess I am ignoring that tritolite. It's not that important. You've already seen what you would see if I went up against the tritolite. Oh, up against it. If I did the tritolite event, we've already done that. It's just hordes of grunts. I'm not actually sure if Bosco can do anything about the resonite. What's he doing right now? He's mining jaders. Okay. He can. All right, let's just let Bosco do that then. Oh, look at Praetorian. Right, this is going to be our solo turret. No, okay. The turret might have done a tiny bit of damage.
Excavation at 50%. Stay on task.
Okay, so a single projectile, it looks like it can't kill Praetorian. That's fine. That's fine. I did it again. I used it against a group of free grunts. Oh yeah, Born Ready. Okay, I should have mentioned Born Ready by now, to be honest. You probably know what Born Ready is. It's this lovely passive perk here. Unequipped weapons reload after 5 seconds. That goes either way. The fact that you need Born Ready is not an argument to take the increased magazine size. 2 is not a lot. So you've got to take Born Ready. The Breach Cutter has a fairly long reload time. Now, I would encourage experimentation that I have not done on that quick deploy thing, because the other option for quick deploy is a faster reload. I can see why that would be useful, but as it stands with the builds I'm showing you, Born Ready's a part of them. And it actually wasn't. Like, this build that I've had for years now, for some reason did not use Born Ready. Until, like, I actually haven't used it with Born Ready until now. I just knew that wasn't right. It should obviously have Born Ready. It's so stupid, like, not to. It is the engineer weapon, like the Breach Cutter in general, is the engineer weapon that demands Born Ready. And this is the lowest magazine size version of it. Okay, something you can also do is just have Bosco sort these out. And I think he just goes through them all himself, which means we can just watch this. Now, yeah, so this, when you get these really big hordes, though, it does expose how lures work. They're weird. Lures are weird. They have an enemy cap, and I'm pretty sure it's only 10, so it's not very high. I think it is. I think it's more than 10, but I don't think it's any higher than 20, though. It's somewhere between 10 and 20, or including. But yeah, it's not high, especially when you're on Hazard 5. On Hazard 5 plus 1 more enemies. It's not a lot of enemies. But that's why I think something like Spinning Death works really well, is that it's a lingering effect. It's why I kind of... Actually, we'll get into that later, but I was going to bring up Fat Boy, and I think Fat Boy and Lewis do pair quite well, but there's a problem there. We'll talk about Fat Boy when the time comes. But Spinning Death being this lingering thing works really well with lures, because it lets it kill and then potentially, and lets the lure then potentially pick up more targets to lure in and kill those as well. It's not going to go crazy and do that like multiple. It's probably only going to do that like really like once. You know, it's like going to make room for a couple more grunts and they'll get in and get killed. It's not going to like do this crazy, you know, domino effect of wiping out an entire horde. You just saw that it did not kill all of those grunts, but the lure, the two together absolutely helped each other, like by quite a lot, I would say. In this case, I actually felt that the enemies were a bit too scattered just now, so I felt like the lure was needed to group them up a little bit. Ooh, she got some consistent shots on that Warden's weak point. Okay, we're doing secondary objectives as well now. Well, I mean, I'm actually valuing doing things a bit more, which is why I probably should do the Twitter like deposit. I'm not going to, but actually having a new season, a new performance pass to work through. I mean, look, even if season 7 does come out like this year and in like, you know, October or something like that, I still think I'll finish the pass like pretty easily by that point. Yeah. I mean, I doubt we're going to hear about season 7. I obviously, I'm still I'm not going to talk about too much. Don't worry. But I think the expectation is still that Invisible Walls are going to make season 7. I think either way, we'll still probably only hear about it after Road Court's out. I think because it's still going to be on Ghost Ship for the marketing and sort of just the planning and like the rollout of season 7. It's still going to be their thing, I assume. So I don't think we're going to hear about it until post Road Court's launch. But there's a chance we do, but I think they probably want to put their effort towards just the Road Core rollout, making sure that's basically just well marketed, really. I don't think it's going badly so far, but I wouldn't say there's an insane amount of buzz. You know, the buzz for Road Core is not equal to the buzz that Deep Rock got in its like prime like meme phase, you know. It's obviously what it is, undeniably, is higher than whatever buzz Deep Rock had before it came out itself, right? That's when Deep Rock was unknown. Road Core, obviously, it's going to have a bigger launch than Deep Rock. I hope it ever ends up having a bigger 1.0 launch. But either way, the early access launch will be far, far bigger. It's going to be in the hundreds of thousands, at least, and I think that's a very comfortable position to be in. I hope they see it that way. Yeah. But I do think, now, okay, so, the Electromagnet video, don't worry, once again, I'm not going to go into details about that, but I still want to do it, but I'm just, obviously, what I'm thinking about is not necessarily setting myself up for, or promising to do much more in the way of edited content at the moment. Certainly not until upgrading my setup, but even then, it's like, it's not necessarily I want to put my energy of the actually getting into the working world and then thinking about what I want to do in terms of more genuine ambition, which is on the writing side of things. I want to save much time for that kind of content. What I still want to do, and what was going to start for sure, is a lot of classic miscellaneous videos, like style videos. With me, it's still just going to be me, but I think I'm going to take my own stab at a lot of the tier lists that we did before, in light of Season 6's content. Look, there it is. The Shellback. Basically the worst enemy for Spinning Death. So I'm still going to use it to see how it goes. This is actually a good version of using it against a Shellback. But in general, those two do not pair very well together. Spinning Dev is not suited to taking down Shellbacks. I hope that is unsurprising to you all. But I'm going to run and gun a little bit because I kind of want to make sure I found that Resonite before I hunker down for this swarm. I may not have a choice in the matter. Now, do I need to go through here? I do, but there's all the ways already. Okay, there we go. Good. Right. Look at that. That's great. That's brilliant. I will actually want to use the breach cutter against that thing. I think that would be a good idea. Oi, oi, oi. Okay. Right, Warden. Take out the Warden. There we go. You know, it's like taking out the support in AABBA Rivals. You know, aim for the healers, guys. You know, it's actually going better than I thought. I've been feeling quite rusty, to be honest, recently. So this is actually not too bad. Yeah, I'm not going to need... I don't need any more Nitro, I think. I think with Nitro, we're at a good level. This is going to be the last bit of the mission. Might as well have a look at what's over here. Probably nothing. Yeah, okay, so what I was talking about was doing a lot of reiterations of certain tier list videos for what Season 6 has brought. So mission types, biomes, enemies, warnings too, not mutators as a whole, but just warnings. That's kind of it for Season 6, I think. I don't see what else I could really do. But what I am still absolutely thinking about is other kinds of videos that would not be really edited necessarily. In fact, more in the style of the one that I did. I think it was literally called What Happens After Road Core, and I don't think I would be thinking of doing something like that specific topic again, but something quite similar. But the presentation of that was actually just like, it was literally Doom Dark Ages footage with like a central bit that I could use to show if I was looking at any websites or anything like that helped, but it was mainly just like ambient background gameplay footage of a different game. I would do the same thing. Very common commentary style, isn't it? But something like that, really just for what I want from Season 7. I might feel more comfortable doing it that way than trying to put together some kind of presentation. Not that I couldn't do that, but I think it's probably more entertaining to just have me ramble, because I'm gonna ramble anyway. So putting it in like a PowerPoint isn't. If anything's going to get me, it's going to be a shell back. If I do a PowerPoint, I'm going to be rambling anyway. So maybe I would just do it just as a rambling video. But I already know what I want from Season 7. So it wouldn't be a hard video to make. I can know what I'm going to say. Because what I want from Season 7 and what I want for Deep Rock in general are not quite the same thing at the moment. They're actually pretty different. Because what I want from Deep Rock really right now is there's two things I want. I want some kind of new game mode that gives it just even more replayability. Something that's very modular, very random, very sort of extreme. It maintains the base gameplay but does a lot of things with it, mainly in terms of environment, not in terms of gear actually. And that's what Road Core would have been as a DLC. It would have been a new game mode that fucks heavily with your gear because it's a roguelike. No, something, a new game mode that gives a lot more longevity to the game. I don't have a specific vision for that. I want that and new weapons. 1 or 2 new sets of weapons. 2 is only because 5 in total is a nice number. But 4 also works. There's 4 classes. They get 4 sets of weapons each. Would not be inappropriate at all. I think Deep Rock, I think it does need that. I think it does need 1 more set of weapons to really round things out. And just breathe another layer of life into the game. that will last for years. Weapons do so much, and that's why they are so much work. But I think it's worth doing at least one more time. And once again, I think that could come from Ghost Ship or Invisible Walls. I have said that I would actually really love to see a different studio's take on making new weapons for Deep Rock. I think that could be really interesting. And I know that some of them, maybe all of them, would be based on some of the new weapons from Rogue Core. Mike has been very upfront about that, actually. Which is why I think getting new weapons is... It is actually the most likely it's been since... Oh, there you go. Since we got the last set. Since Season 1 and 2. So I think for Season 8 and beyond, it's actually not low chance at all. But we will just have to wait and see. And there's a lot of waiting involved, but I mean, thank God Deep Rock is a good game. And thank God Rogue Core is happening soon. But yeah, there is obviously a lot of waiting involved, but you know, we can't do anything about that. What you can do is just find what it takes to be okay with that. Play other games, do other things with your time. It's like, it's fine. I wish we didn't have to wait so long for stuff for Deep Rock, but it shouldn't be the end of the world for anyone. It certainly hasn't been for me. But I think it's weird because I think it is always going to be the game that I care the most about in terms of like updates, you know, not franchise. I think when it comes to franchises, I think it's always probably going to come back to Halo, which is not the best position to be in. But as a singular game, I don't think there's any game whose just like content I care more about than Deep Rock. Okay, well, that was suitably rambly for our first mission with Spinning Death. It's a great overclock. It kind of just handles stuff. I think what appears to be a potentially quite scary ammo downgrade from normal breach cutter is actually very suitable for what it does. As long as you're not using it really, because I even used it a little bit recklessly and I was still fine. So as long as you don't just use it far too liberally, you're going to have enough ammo to deal with most things. Actually, my season level is not actually that great, is it? You're going to have enough ammo to deal with pretty much everything without too much trouble between resupplies. Oh, look at that! So so I'm actually only just now doing the assignment from Season 6, and they're doing the thing of having a warning. Take one of the mission slots, which I think we can probably do. Just have a quick look, because I saw that, which is actually quite tempting. Kind of do want XP at the moment. Ooh, no, I think I'm gonna do this. I think this actually suits what we're doing next very well. But I'm gonna take a quick break, and I'll see you to explain the next build. Okay, so here's build number 2, handily placed in our brand new loadout slot. Let's give it a heavy extraction icon. That's good. I like that. Wait, is it heavy extraction or heavy excavation? Extraction. Okay, good. Yeah, so build number 2. This is the one I was talking about that had a repellent additive in it. So I'm going to show you that now, but I'll just be talking about this throughout the build. Let's start with the primary though, which doesn't factor in repellent additive. This is basically the down the line. This is the stubby that you want for pretty much any job that isn't clearing out massive groups of enemies, because this our breach cutter is not as single target oriented. That isn't completely absent, but you'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment. So yeah, this is how you build a stubby if you want to just handle stuff, pick off smaller enemies, handle big single targets when it counts. Even Refire booster, bit of ammo, bit of extra ammo, bit of damage, control the recoil, armor breaking so you don't have to worry about where you're shooting, and accuracy so you can actually focus on where you're shooting. It's simple, effective. You can't really do much better than this for just straightforward DPS on the stubby. The only way you can do better is taking more damage, which is fine, but I want a little bit more flexibility than that. So yeah, our breach cutter though, I talked about the differences already. So big one, the main one is taking width instead of ammo. So yeah, Spinning Death already increases the width of the base projectile, but it doubles it basically. It doesn't double it internally, so the upgrade still only gives 1.5. Actually, is that right? Let's have a look. Yeah. So the upgrade still only gives 1.5, so we're getting from 1.5 without the overclock, like without anything, up to 4.5. 4.5 meters is big. In fact, we can actually I can quickly show you. Fat Boy, if you don't take a radius increase, is actually smaller than that. Obviously you can get Fat Boy up to 6.6. But yeah, so it's massive, and it also has we have 9 ammo technically. It's big, it's huge. Same lifetime. This is basically to deal with massive groups of enemies, and that's it. Now, where this works that the previous one doesn't, is it works in groups that are more sparsely placed. So we can take more advantage of terrain, or even just ignore terrain more. Triple split line as well, in general, just gives this thing so much coverage. We have a little bit more vertical coverage from triple split line, but so much more horizontal coverage just from increasing the width here. Loosened node cohesion. That is an upgrade name I have never read out. It's pretty similar in a lot of ways, except we just take the whip instead of ammo and basically treat it a bit more like a Fat Boy kind of thing. So yeah, if I get like 3 Praetorians grouped together, maybe even 2 to be honest, I'll use it, definitely. It's actually definitely worth doing, and that you can just sort of clean them up with a stubby. Works very well, but in general, this is for handling widely spread groups of enemies, and sort of leading them into the zone. And also, we can also create really powerful kill boxes with the proximity mines. So you basically set up the zone that you want the enemies to go into with the repellent additive, and you kind of alternate between using proximity mines and the breach cutter to basically lock off that path for enemies, just turn it into a death wall. And of course, yeah, we kind of justify taking less ammo because we have a grenade that does damage. And we still have crowd control. We've got crowd control in our repellent additive and our proximity mines doing fierce. So on the breach cutter, I've actually taken armor breaking. Now, this isn't necessary. You can easily take stun, but I find the armor breaking kind of funny. It helps the sentries a little bit. It helps the stubby. If we were doing it doesn't really help the stubby actually. You don't need to do this. You can take stun. It's probably a better idea. But I think it's fun, and it's just because the width of the projectile allows for it, basically. A grunt going from one end to the other, it's not going to get out before it dies. It works. I really do like this. I think it's an interesting discovery. I don't think it's perfect. I may even make adjustments over time. Also, look at this. This guy looks amazing, right? Like, seriously, this is such a good look. Just this armor. So this is the DLC armor, the new DLC. I think looks great on engineer, and obviously this is a specific paint job. And that visor is literally like the first thing in the performance pass for season 6. It's the brushed metal paint job. Can't remember exactly where you get that from, but I think it's I really like the way this guy looks. But yeah, let's just get into it. So I think you can hopefully see why this might be good for something like a salvage or an escort duty. I did it on escort duty and it went really well, so there's a bit of evidence in my favour there. Yeah. Hopefully salvage op is a good idea. I don't see why it wouldn't be. They're very similar, and if anything, salvage op is far more forgiving than escort duty, so... Actually, is it? Because... I don't know. They are the only mission types that have a fail state, right? Which I think is interesting. I don't know what to make of that, because obviously these aren't the most beloved missions. Mainly escort duty. I like salvage op quite a bit. Escort duty, though, is of course maligned by everyone, including me. And yeah, so these are the only two missions with actual fail states. So, and if you're confused or pedantic, I mean fail states aside from dying, right? Or a team wipe if you're playing multiplayer. I'm just running things in my head, making sure that is true. And I think it is. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because like the drill elevator can't break, for example. Yeah, it is they are the only ones that have a fail state. It's the kind of thing makes you question of like, should there be missions like that, because it kind of goes against what's typically the case. But it's like, is that a good reason to not do it? I would say it's not. I would say that's not a good reason to not do something, but it should make you consider what you're doing. Like, you should know that you are breaking a norm by giving the mission a fail state. But of course, salvage op having been added much longer ago than escort duty kind of gives the precedent that escort duty is following up on, for there to be a mission with a fail state. It's weird. It's weird. I would definitely be interested to, honestly, I'm kind of interested to know what I think about certain things. Okay, we're about to get into it. I don't see why that Tridor had to hit me, to be honest. Alright, so this is where we basically exercise our superior control over the battlefield. Although this goo bomber is actually, I'm just gonna run both my turrets for this goo bomber. I don't care. Do it. Kill him. Get him. Get him. Okay, that warden did not take much damage during that. But yeah, you kind of just swap in and out of using the breach cutter or the proximity mines to do the job. That's not very nice. Why did I do that? It's not. I do still think there is something, and look, I know that we'll probably have to wait to season 7 to get any kind of actual balance changes, and there aren't many that are essential, but I think something that really the proximity mines need is basically a health gate. Which is like, because they can't trigger against swarmers, for example, but they can trigger against a grunt with less health than a swarmer. So I think there should be like a minimum of, I think it should be a minimum of the damage that the proximity mine deals, and that is slightly more than a grunt's health, by the way. I think it's 130, so there would need to be at least 2 grunts, or maybe a couple grunts with like very low health to trigger it. And I think that would be just such an interesting evolution for the proximity mine to take. It would change how you use them so much. Like, it would change how people behave around them too. Just make them infinitely more usable, to be honest. And well, I mean, this is obviously very biased, but I can't think of a good reason why you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't make that change. I can't really think of any downsides. Yeah, obviously, the hope with this build, by the way, is to get really substantial hordes of enemies, because otherwise, it doesn't present itself as being that useful. So this bunch, for example, I would say are pretty reasonable. Let's put a platform there. And there's our first Praetorian. Oh, there's actually 2 Praetorians. So that would have actually been quite good to experiment with, but that's fine. It's fine. Alright, actually, no, we're going to need to... we're going to double up. I got scared. Do I have Born ready in this build? I do. Okay. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. Oh, we're definitely getting enemies to fight. Right, I'm going to probably go Stubby only for a minute. 2 oppressors. What the fuck? Oh, you cheeky stingtail. That stingtail's a goddamn genius. Not really. It pulled me into where I'd placed a proximity mine. That's not that crazy. Still, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if what our ammo situation is what I would call efficient. But we did get through quite a lot of stuff. 2 Praetorians, 2 Oppressors, a shitload of grunts. Maybe it's not so bad. I would say I was actually pretty happy with how it performed against those 2 Oppressors. 2 shots almost did it, but that was also... Oh my fucking god. That was also with a proximity mine in the mix too. I don't know. I mean, this build is quite a recent creation of mine, so I don't necessarily know how exactly. I wouldn't say I've fully formed my opinion on it just yet, which is fine. That's fine. Oh my god. Do you mind? Alright, okay, I think we're fine. Boop. Should be sugar in here. There's no sugar in here. Nonsense. What is that? That's another press. Okay, I know what to do. I need to go to the drop pod. I need to put a resupply pod there. Where is the drop pod? Okay, it's over here. All these guys. Right, this mission is winding up being a bit more intense than I expected, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Alright, let's just see how this feels to use this being an oppressor takedown method. Okay, I think the helicopter. I think the inclusion of a breach cutter shot there actually feels pretty reasonable. Oh my god. They're piling it on in this mission. It's a lot to deal with. Okay. We'll manage. Haven't died yet. Let's try and keep it that way. Eight years been playing this game. 8 years. My breach cutter. Fucking hell. Couldn't decline much. My cave glitch awareness is just still so subpar. It's really bad. Like, I know it's there as well. I'm just not playing around it. It's like it doesn't. That's the problem with heightened senses, to be honest. As great as heightened senses is, obviously it's like S tier, but especially now. Like honestly, shout out to them in general, but shout out to Invisible Walls for adding a new enemy that uses heightened senses. The Pitchell, what a lad, what a champ. Right, well, I know this is going to cause some fellas to show up. Just a quick little bit of a lesson, fun fact about Salvage Op. Salvage Op basically spawns what we call pressure waves whenever a mule is completed, and also has a chance to do the same thing whenever you mine a leg out from the ground. Just some things to keep in mind. Oh, we actually have a bit of an excess of breach cutter ammo. I'm not going to use it on these guys though. Yes, I am. Yeah, see, there's the problem. They're just going to fly right over it. They're just going to fly. Which is in a list of top 10 least surprising things to happen. That's pretty high. I mean, look, even with taking at least one ammo upgrade on the Stubby, it's still not like still going through it, still getting through its ammo. Oh, I didn't just need that leg. All right. Okay. Okay. I think we're probably okay on Nitro actually. I doubt we're going to need 4 resupplies in total. We might not even need 3, probably only going to need 2. I think we will need 2 though. I think we will need 2 resupplies. Am I doing the secondary objective for this? There's also a... oh, I think I am. Okay, so hold on. So we got an Ebonite here. And this off screen. I can hear a bunch of enemies coming. Like that should... actually, I can see him over there. Main, it's just spitballers. Is that what they're called? Spreaders. Spread, not called spitballers. Never been called that. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to do this off screen. Probably go find some fossils off screen as well. The dreaded hordes have arrived. By the way, this would pair well with lures, but I just don't feel comfortable with that. I kind of want the firepower of an actual grenade. I hope you understand. Anyway, I'm still fossil hunting, so... look at this. Oh. Hey. Okay. Come here. Come here. Cat. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ah! She's been lying on my bed for hours and she's just got up, so I thought I'd show you her. Right. But I found all the fossils, which I kind of don't want that there. So she's going to disrupt our avenues. Because yeah, so I guess it's going to be a little bit of a lesson in repellent additive as well, because repellent additive is a very soft influence, like pathfinding influence. You have to treat it as such. So, for example, our window here is like basically between these 2 points, enemies will be roughly funneled into. I'm going to make it a little bit tighter actually. Same on this side, so they should come through here. If I even put one here, it shouldn't be too bad. Oh, hold on. I'm actually going to thin it out as well. Do you mind? Just butting your head against the blinds. Just does that a lot. Anyway. Yeah, so hopefully we should have pretty effective avenues that enemies will go down, just naturally, we can use. For both proximity mines, actually, so for the proximity mines, I'm actually going to put on here and here, so basically in the turret's blind spots. Actually, this turret will be able to see that way a little bit, so I'm actually going to put, yeah, so basically going to cover our own 6 with these things. Turrets can face out that way. Other things can cover our behind. Why are you looking at me like that? Right. I am on about half health, but I'm just going to deal with that. I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. Okay, this might immediately be a problem. Yeah, this is going to be a problem. I can't. All right.
Please get back into the triangulation zone. We risk completely losing. Return to the triangulation zone. We're losing your connection.
This is going to be one of those missions where the enemy pool actually tries.
Stay inside the triangulation zone. Get back in there.
Oh, that's really far too. That's way too far in. That's bad. That's bad. Okay. Okay. Fine. I'm gonna die again. I'm gonna die again.
You're jeopardizing the mission. Get back to the triangulation zone. Please get back into the triangulation zone.
Why are you looking like that?
Losing your signal. You're jeopardizing the mission. Get back to the triangulation zone. Not leave the triangulation zone.
Mission control. Shut up. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. Especially with that. Yeah, I think this is fucked. It's just there's too many angles and there's too many ranged enemies, like disruptive enemies as well. Like this zone is so hilariously unsafe. Another oppressor. I can't deal with that. I would admit, stun would have helped. It's so much. Why is there so much? And so many disruptive enemies too. Like spreaders are so bad on salvage op. It's still, and that's been the case for a long time too. Hey, it was the more experimental of the two. I still like it. I swear. Anyway, I'm not gonna do another one. Don't worry. But I don't mind. I don't mind this thing having one of the builds be so clearly more experimental. Like, I'm not recommending that one, and I never was. The first build, yes, that's a very good way to use spinning death. And maybe, honestly, maybe the second build, all it was missing, maybe it was just a stun. Maybe I just wasn't right about that, and it did definitely need stun to be worth using. Maybe. But either way, I think it's gonna be it. I still very heartily recommend spinning death. I think it's fantastic. It's just very specific. You do have to build around it, and that's why I think it probably wouldn't end up with an S tier rating. Also, you have to build around any overclock that you're making the staple of your build. But it's the kind of overclock that kind of forces itself to be the staple of your build. Maybe that's where Inferno, not necessarily. You don't have to build around Inferno exactly. You can be a bit more generalist and still get really good results with Inferno. Even high voltage crossover, and of course the cleans are fine too. It is absolutely an unstable overclock, and for that I do respect it. But yeah, I think it's going to be spinning death. So. If you enjoyed this episode of Overclock Showcase, then please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more stuff like this, and you want us to change top of everything to a deep rock and roll chord, then also make sure to click the bell. And thank you, as always, to our one and only wonderful member, Box Fox Scoot. You will be forever remembered. Now, it's time to find out what next time's Overclock is going to be. And it's for the coil gun. We're back to the coil gun, which is fun, because we've kind of got two pretty heavy hitters out the way. We've literally done triple tech and ultramagnetic coils already. What a pair. So we are kind of left with the lesser bunch, to be honest. But I still love the coil gun, so I'm pretty much down for anything. Anyway, so if you don't know how this part works, I basically number the overclocks on the weapon from left to right, top to bottom. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have left 1, 2, 3, and 6. So when I turn our attention to the Wheel of Fortune, what is that? What's that? What's that about? What's that about eliminating controller sound from OBS? No, this is the Wheel of Fortune. It has the numbers for those overclocks on it, and this is how we will decide. I could really easily, I'm a quick typer, I could easily set these wheels up to have the actual names of the overclock. I'm not doing that though. Is that 1 or 6? 1. Okay, we got 1. Which is, frankly, probably the best of these 4. It's backfeeding module, which I definitely have equipped in at least a couple of places. Right? Right? Okay, apparently not. Apparently not. Backfeeding module. Backfeeding module is very good, and that will be next time on Overclock Showcase. Until then, I've been the Baron of the Barrels, but I need to obviously have a drink. What would be a spinning death apt drink? Wormhole. Still wormhole. Very rare in these, I think. We need more wormhole specials in our lives. And of course, to do wormhole properly, you take a wormhole, and then you take a Flintlocks Delight. Assuming it's going to teleport us outside of the space rig. We're going to fly to the Ramrod. There we go. There's the Ramrod. That's where we're going. Let's go. But obviously, you can really tell that it is nowhere near as big as it actually is. That is a massively scaled down version of the Ramrod. Yeah, I probably would have made it bigger and put it much further away. All right, it's getting a bit much. All right, I'll see you. See you next time. Bye.